I'm traveling out to Dubai to work for a couple of days, and just wanted to sort of make you aware, if you are traveling in the very near future, as to the kind of things you're going to need to travel, because everything's changing here in the UK. If you're going to some countries, you're going to have to do a PCR test before you go. So I've got my Fit to Fly PCR test there. That cost me 59 quid to get that. That was an on-site test. They swab you and then you get the results the next day. Some places require you to have that no more than 48 hours before you fly. Dubai is 72 hours. So I've got that on the Monday. I'm flying on the Thursday. It's good to leave as a little bit of time if you can. They're supposed to get it back to you next day. Sometimes that doesn't happen. The test centre that I went to was insanely busy, and the reason that it's so busy at the moment is because you need a second test. The second test is your PCR day 2 test. Now, for a long time, we've been able to use lateral flow tests for our day 2 tests if you're fully vaccinated, like me, but now it has to be a PCR test, which means that you either need a home kit, which you send off, or you need to have a test when you get back. That one cost me £69, which I'm having done at Terminal 2 at Heathrow, because you have to self-isolate until you get the results of that. So I'm landing, taking the test, and then hopefully I'll be back out in the world the next day. What came out in the news today, and what I'm really quite hacked off about because it suddenly appeared from nowhere, is that you now need a UK lateral flow test before you leave. Now, you can get one of those locally, but they are not always easy to find, the test centres. And so the best thing to do is to get a kit before you leave, pack it in your suitcase, and you do the test just before you come back, and you register it all, and then you can get on the plane. They send you a certificate. That's great, except that most places will say you need to order this test 4 days before you fly. It's Tuesday. The news came out this morning and I'm flying on Thursday. So I did manage to find a test place from one of the government accredited test places that will do next day delivery. So fingers crossed, tomorrow I should be getting a test kit. It still cost me extra to do that. So I've had to pay another 25 quid. So all in all, I've paid 155 quid just for COVID tests. Travel is complicated and not cheap these days. So those are the things you need to do. You don't need to take a test for every destination. That differs. So the test I had to take to go out to Dubai, some places will allow you to travel without having that test. So it's now Tuesday. I've got the results of my PCR test. That's negative. Yay. Tomorrow I have some bits to do and packing up, and then I'm off to the airport early on Thursday morning. It is now Wednesday. And guess what? My lateral flow test did not turn up. I wouldn't mind so much, but for 2 reasons. Firstly, this whole thing happened on Tuesday, and it was just suddenly announced that we had to do lateral flow fit to fly tests. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that the Prime Minister couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. Of course he could. He managed to organise one in number 10 last Christmas, but this is just ridiculous. It really does annoy me. There's just no thought goes into this. Like, oh, we need to do something quickly, do this thing. Oh, we can't do it. Not a Boris fan. The other thing that hacks me off is I specifically paid, there was a big ticker on the test and go screen, order within the next 7 hours, get it next day. So I paid extra to get it the next day. So they didn't deliver either. So I'm pretty hacked off. They say they're going to give me my money back, but I have, as of yet, not had any email confirmation. The next problem I have is I need a fit to fly test, and they seem to be very hard to come by in Dubai. I believe that Dubai Terminal 3, they have a lateral flow testing centre, but I won't know until I get there. So this has kind of put me on edge. I like to be a little bit more organised than this normally when I'm travelling. Anyway, I will keep you posted on my onward adventures. Hey guys, what's up? That's not really me, is it? My trip in Dubai is coming to an end, and I still need to get my lateral flow tests. Now, I'm pretty confident I can get one of these at the airport. I've done a little bit of online research, so I'm going to head out there in a moment. I've just filled in my passenger locator form for the UK, and I appreciate that we have to do this stuff during COVID, but of all the places that I've visited over the last couple of months, nowhere is as complicated as the documentation for the UK. And yet we've historically had incredibly high rates of COVID. So you have to wonder what the point of all this is. I do get that you need to do it, but it just seems overly complicated. Incidentally, there's very little information about what happens if you fail your lateral flow test. I guess suddenly you're surrounded by armed guards and escorted to some facility. I don't know. But certainly when I was traveling to Warsaw a couple of months ago, you have to take this fit to fly lateral flow test, but nobody tells you what happens if you fail that test. I mean, what do? You book into a hotel? Hi, I've got COVID. Can I book in? I don't think that's going to go down very well. Precious little information on that. If anybody does know, I would genuinely be very interested if you could post in the comments as to what you do about that, because I would really, really like to know. Because it's a bit of a concern, to be honest. I've done my own lateral flow test. I brought some of the NHS ones with me, so I'm pretty confident because I haven't got COVID. But it's still a concern. Until you get that fit to fly certificate, still a worry. Well, the good news is I got my fit to fly, which is a huge relief. I wasn't expecting the test to be positive because I've just taken a lateral flow in my hotel room, but it was just knowing where to get this because this has suddenly come in from nowhere. So if you are coming through Dubai, then just behind Costa Coffee in Terminal 3 you can get rapid PCR and rapid lateral flow. Lateral flow is what you need to get into the UK. They prefer you to do it just before the flight, but I'm flying out of Terminal 1 and there doesn't seem to be a testing facility in Terminal 1, so it's a good idea to sort of come a little bit beforehand and get that. I'm flying at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I wanted to make sure I had this. You need that lateral flow 48 hours before you fly, a maximum of 48 hours before you fly. So yeah, I'm all good to go. I'm not going to be marooned here in Dubai, which is great news. The test cost 150 dirham, which is around about £30 ish. So yeah, adding that on to my total of tests that I've had now, I'm nearly up at about 200 quid. Not quite there, I think it's about £185, something like that, for COVID tests. It's expensive to travel these days. You have to pay a lot of people to stick things up your nose. I'm quite tired of being probed, if I'm perfectly honest. It only takes about 10 minutes. Really quick, really efficient service. Wasn't busy at all, as DXB is not. I've been through here a couple of times and I've never seen it as dead as this. It's quite bizarre. Anyway, back to the hotel. Drop the passport and the test off because I don't want to carry that around Dubai for the rest of today. Just paranoid. That's me. And then, yeah, got a few hours left. Have a little explore of Dubai. Well, I'm fully back from my trip away now, and I do not have COVID, which is a bonus. I did my PCR test at Heathrow. Now, I was going to video this, but I had a lot of baggage with me, so I couldn't really hold the camera. And also, it took me a little bit of time to find this. So if you're coming into Terminal 2 at Heathrow, be aware that if you're using Express Test, who are the on-site testing people, then you need to, it says it's in Terminal 2 arrivals, but you need to get the lift down to level 0 where the Express Test booth is. It's pretty straightforward to find. It's just there's no signage actually at arrivals. One thing that you absolutely must do is pre-book this test and turn up at the right time for it. It was pretty busy when I was there. And there were a lot of people turning up because obviously they suddenly need these tests and wanting them on the spot and being turned away. So do make sure that you pre-book that. You don't have to use Express Tests when you get back. There's a whole bunch of people you can use. You can get home tests as well, but you need this PCR day 2 test. I'm sure you're aware, but once you arrive in the UK now, you need to actually self-isolate till you get the results of that test. So by using express tests, and most people turn it around overnight, I was able to do the test when I landed, and within probably about 24 hours or so, I had the results, and because they were negative, I was released. So a big tip if you are traveling during these COVID times and you're coming to the UK is to make sure that you pre-book everything and be as organised as you can. I actually screwed up my passenger locator form. It's a very involved document. Because I was taking 2 flights, I put down the flight number of the flight I was leaving Dubai on, and which was a different flight from the one I was arriving on. Rookie error. But you know, I had attention to detail, so I had to redo it at the airport, which is one of the reasons you need to leave plenty of time to do this stuff. If you're watching this because you're traveling to the UK, then I hope you found this video of some use. As I said earlier, if anyone does know what happens if you're leaving a country and you fail the lateral flow test, then I'd be really interested to know in the comments below. So please do drop those down, because I can't really find any information on this. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you with another video soon enough. Bye for now.